Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education. I call this meeting to order. We have all board members present and our student board member. This evening, we're very fortunate to have with us a fifth grade student from Paramount Elementary School, Kenley Catherman. And Kenley is here this evening to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Would you stand, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hi, Kenley.
Hi.
So thank you for being here and for leading us this evening. Do you have some folks with you that you would like to introduce?
Sure. My mom is here, and my principal, her name is Miss Baker.
Okay, well, thank you for being here in support of Kenley. Kenley, it's May. What's on the horizon?
The end of school.
The end of school. How are things going, and how have things gone for you?
Pretty good.
Good, good. So you're looking forward to summer?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kenley, my notes here tell me that you're a big sister.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have two little sisters.
Could you step up a little bit, honey? We're having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. I have two little sisters, Natalie and Meredith. They're both crazy. One's 4 and one's 2.
Huh.
Yeah.
So they're not in school yet,
Um,
and you are.
oh, wait. No, sorry. One's 5 and one's 2.
So one is in school?
Yes.
Is one in kindergarten?
Pre-K.
Oh, pre-K, okay. Okay. And I bet you're a wonderful big sister to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go home and play school, teach them what it is to be a student?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Tell us a little bit about what you enjoy at Paramount Elementary School. What kind of subjects do you enjoy?
ELA, science.
Science. We don't hear that often.
No.
I like to learn about like space and the history.
Awesome. So when you're not at home tormenting your little sisters or at school studying and enjoying science, what kinds of things do you like to do for fun?
Well, we have a pool in our backyard,
Oh,
so we usually go out at least once a day in the summer. I like to do fashion designs.
great, great. Well, Kenley, we certainly appreciate you being here this afternoon to lead us in the pledge. And in these next few weeks of school, we wish you all the best. And we hope you have a happy summer, a fun summer, full of sunny days so that you can be out there in that pool swimming. Okay? Thank you so much. Our first item of business this evening is to approve the agenda for our meeting. Is there a motion? Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Detmeyer. Any discussion of the agenda? All those in favor? All right. I have unanimously approved agenda. We'll move to the approval of the minutes.
President Williams, I move for the approval of the closed session minutes dated Tuesday, April 18th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. All those in favor of approval of the closed session minutes of April 18th? All right, that set of minutes is unanimously approved.
I move for the approval of the business meeting minutes dated Tuesday, April 18th, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any additions or corrections to the business meeting minutes? Okay, all those in favor of approval? And we have another unanimous vote, and the student member concurs. So we have 2 sets of approved minutes. Okay, at this time, we'll begin the superintendent's report, and we will continue that report after new business. Dr. Savine?
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board. We had an outstanding celebration for teachers at the end of last month with our partners from the Chamber of Commerce. We were proud to introduce our 5 finalists for the Teacher of the Year and announce a winner to the community. In recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week, that's next week, we would like to introduce these wonderful educators tonight. I'd like to invite Ms. Joni Burkhart, our Supervisor of Professional Development, to come forward, and she'll share a little more about this honor and introduce us to our teachers.
Well, good evening, President Williams, Dr. Savine, and members of the board. Teacher Appreciation Week is a wonderful opportunity to recognize all of the teachers in Washington County Public Schools and to introduce our current Teacher of the Year. This year, we had over 239 nominations and 112 teachers completed the Teacher of the Year packet. From those 112 teachers, the community judges and Washington County judges chose 5 finalists. In alphabetical order, they were Amy Deeds, health education teacher from South Hagerstown High School. Kimberly Grabenstein, 4th and 5th grade STEM magnet teacher from Williamsport Elementary. Erin Orth, 3rd grade teacher from Fountaindale Elementary School. I want to recognize Erica Osborne, choral teacher from Springfield Middle School. Erica cannot be here with us tonight because she is doing a choral concert with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students at Springfield Middle School. And I'm pleased to announce our 2023-24 Washington County Teacher of the Year, Raymond Weber. Raymond is a 5th grade teacher at Salem Avenue Elementary School. So we'd like to take a photo with all of the Teacher of the Year finalists, and then Raymond will share a few remarks about his honor.
She's gonna move people over. I know her.
Mr. Stout, for a little move to your right. There you go. Now I got everyone. 1, 2, 3, 1 more. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Raymond, I'm going to have you sit here.
President Williams, board members, Superintendent Dr. Savine, thank you for having me here today. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and appreciation for your efforts and your dedication to the education system. Your hard work and commitment to the students of Washington County Public Schools is commendable, and your leadership and guidance is instrumental in shaping the future of our students and providing them the best possible education. So, as a teacher, I can't imagine a better profession. I absolutely love my job, and I get excited to go into the classroom each and every day because of the phenomenal students that I get to work with. I get the opportunity each year to see them grow in ways that they could never imagine. And that is such a rewarding experience. But I also get to work with many wonderful colleagues. Now, being at Salem Avenue Elementary School for the past 13 years, I must love it. It is a tough population, and those kids are awesome, and my coworkers are phenomenal. So I love being there, and I know the great work that we do in that school. But I have also had the opportunity to collaborate and get to know many of the educators throughout Washington County. And their dedication and passion to education is like no other profession. And it is inspirational to me to see what they do with their students, and it makes me a better teacher. I see them not only building the knowledge of their students, but they instill a confidence in each one of those students to not only succeed within the classroom, but in every aspect of life. So I am honored and I am excited to represent the fine educators of Washington County Public Schools. So thank you for always taking the time to recognize and celebrate the teachers of Washington County. Thank you.
Mr. Weber, I just want to extend my congratulations and also extend nice recognition to all of our finalists. I have no doubt, I have full confidence you will represent us well at the state level. Mrs. Burkhart and Mr. Garner, your principal, we look forward on May the 23rd, making the trip to Baltimore, where you'll be formally recognized at the state level. But wish you the best and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to know, have you eaten your Chick-fil-A yet?
I did, yes. I got a few coupons. At first, there was only 31 of them, and everyone's like, I want Chick-fil-A. When can we go? They expire in September. It's not a year's worth. But then they emailed me. They're like, we're sending you more. So, yes, for my dad's birthday, we went and got some Chick-fil-A for him and went golfing, yeah.
Very cool.
Which car did you take?
Oh, I took the Kia Sorento. It is very classy. It's very nice inside. I absolutely love it, and it's much better than my Explorer on gas, so I'm saving money there. It's phenomenal.
If you stay in the classroom long enough, someday you'll have a little child walk up to you and say, you taught my mother or my father, so.
Oh, yeah, I had a student from North Hagerstown High School email me, and he is now a history teacher at North Hagerstown High School, and that, well, I was overwhelmed with pride, but I also felt extremely old.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have an additional report before we continue with the agenda items. The Washington County Association of Student Councils had an incredible honor to host the Maryland Association of Student Councils Convention this year in Ocean City. It certainly took a tremendous amount of planning, coordination, and leadership from students and their advisors alike. We're going to hear from our students about their experience later on tonight, but first, one of our advisors received a very special honor at the convention. I would ask Scott Berman, our high school social studies content specialist, at this point, if you could come forward and share some additional details.
Dr. Savine, President Williams, and members of the board. The Maryland Association of Student Councils, MASC, held its annual convention in Ocean City, Maryland from March 22nd to the 24th. The Washington County Association of Student Councils, WCASC, served as the host for the convention. Planning and executing this event took a significant amount of time and leadership from WCASC, the hospitality program at North Hagerstown High School, and staff advisors Jesse Orth and Kim O'Kane. At this event, Kim O'Kane from North Hagerstown High School was awarded the Catherine Nora Murray Unsung Hero Award for her 20-plus years of tireless work on behalf of student leadership within WCPS and across the state. Kim has served as an educator at North High for her entire 29-year teaching career. She was a high school math teacher before drastically shifting course 7 years ago to become the first teacher of hospitality and tourism in WCPS. For 24 years, Kim served as a student council advisor, including serving a one-year term as the executive director of the Maryland Association of Student Councils. Kim has a passion for student leadership and for seeing kids make a greater individual commitment to themselves and to their community. The Catherine Nora Murray Unsung Hero Award recognizes an individual who makes a difference through leadership and extraordinary commitment to MASC. Kim is recognized as going above and beyond in supporting and working with students and MASC, often behind the scenes. I'll now ask Kim to come forward and to be recognized.
Take a photo.
That easily, Kim. We're going to take a photo.
Congratulations, Kim.
Surprise, surprise.
Turn this around.
All right, smile 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Another 1, 2, 3. All right, one more for good measure. 1, 2, 3. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm saying you might want to call back.
Well, I'll make sure of it.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Sovine, and members of the Board of Ed. My name is Jesse Orth, and I'm the lead teacher at Potomac Heights Elementary and an advisor for WCASC. I'd like to introduce Shraddha Bista, Alexandra Smith, Demetrius Guest, and Sean Neal from North Hagerstown High School. Shraddha and Alex are here representing WCASC. Demetrius and Sean are here representing the Hospitality Tourism Program at North Hagerstown High School. Together, they represent the MASC Convention host staff. They will share their experience at convention and the impact it had on them as student leaders.
Good evening, Dr. Sovine, President Williams, elected board members, and student member May Cruz. We would like to thank you for the opportunity, especially Dr. Sovine, to present to you guys what our experience at convention was like this past March. It was a 3-day leadership conference for students all across the state of Maryland. And like Mr. Orth said, I'm Alex Smith, and I'm from North High and the IB Diploma Program.
My name is Demetrius Guest. I'm also a senior at North High in the IB Career Program.
My name is Sean Neal, and I'm a senior in the IB Career Program.
And my name is Shraddha Bista, and I'm a sophomore in the Diploma Program. I want to start by expanding on exactly what WCASC is. So WCASC stands for the Washington County Association of Student Councils, and it is our regional student council that connects our middle and high school student councils to just get experiences at the county level. We have elected officers, 4 elected officers, as well as our 8 board members that make up our Washington County Association of Student Councils Board of Student Leaders. Each year, the board creates goals and ideas that we're going to accomplish throughout the year through projects and events, like we had a discussion panel last week.
And then we also create general assemblies that are actually hosted like in this room, which is really cool, throughout the year, where we can hold workshops and roundtables. And lastly, we have the opportunity to send students to Maryland events that students can meet students that not just from this county or not just from their school, but from across the state.
So again, what MASC is, that stands for the Maryland Association of Student Councils, and that's an organization that unites student councils from all across the state, and it's really just a community to grow student leaders, develop professional skills, and provide input on Maryland bills that affect the youth. MASC, they host 3 major conferences every year, with the biggest one being convention that we went to. They hold workshops, guest speakers, motivational speakers, and then award ceremonies for those outstanding leaders. And then also they have elections for the following MASC officers of the next year. Their mission is really to improve student advocacy and communication all throughout the state.
Over the years, Washington County has had the opportunity to help grow their connection with MASC through hosting events like convention. In the past, we've also had schools like North High and Northern Middle receive their Felix Simon Middle School and High School awards. We've had advisors like Mr. Orth and Ms. O'Kane receive their Advisor of the Year awards, and we've had former principals like Mr. Alshire receive their Principal of the Year awards. As far as convention goes, we've hosted in the past before. We've hosted in 2013 and in 2018. And 2018 was especially important for us in our history because it was the first time that we got to host with our hospitality program at North High. So you may be wondering why we decided we wanted to host convention. And part of that was back in 2018, the Board of Student Leaders at the time decided 5 years after hosting they wanted to host again, and this just so happened to be year 5. And the other part of it was after COVID, a lot of events were trying to get back up off the ground. And WCASC had done a lot of growing in the last year, and our board was really strong this year. So we wanted to take the opportunity, and we were presented with it, so we thought, let's run with it. And at the Board of Student Leaders level, we had a lot of conversations about it, and we ultimately decided to take a vote and then voted in favor of hosting convention. And so with that, there was a lot of conversation amongst us as students about how much it could be beneficial to us and how interested we were in doing it. So we also worked with the hospitality program, and Demetrius is going to share a little bit about that.
North High's hospitality and tourism program provides unique opportunities for students to get hands-on experience. In the past, we've had the opportunities to do things like the Sugar Plum Father-Daughter Dance and the Class of 72 50th Reunion, which we got to work with Miss Murray over here with that one too. Events like this give students the chance to grow their skills within this industry. Partnering with MASC not only allowed us to do that, but allowed us to help grow and truly enhance the experience of the MASC conference. Going in, we knew that there were high expectations of what it would look like. However, we had no idea that convention would be like anything we've ever experienced before. We were one of the last groups to host before COVID, and we came back with an entirely new group who absolutely killed it.
So, like Demetrius alluded to, none of us had ever attended convention before, and we had seen a little bit of a chunk of one after COVID, but never the full event. So there were high expectations, and we knew WCASC had a good reputation for doing it well, but we had no idea what it would look like. So there was a lot of planning on our end. We had meetings for probably 2.5 months, if not longer, before the event actually happened, where we worked on decorations, creating a theme that went with the MASC theme of spellbinding leadership, creating recreation activities to allow networking time, and working with MASC counterparts to make sure everything was going to be cohesive. And then while we were down in Ocean City, we worked to make sure that everything ran smoothly, that people were able to figure out what to do because there was so much new about convention, and there were probably only 60 delegates at the whole event that had ever been before. So it was really our job to help them make that move and do it successfully.
So a little bit about what Demetrius and I did down there. We were project managers for the Advisor Hospitality Suite. So basically anywhere that the advisors wanted to get away from all their stress or just get a quick bite to eat or something grab and go, like a fruit and a bag of chips. We had that at all times for them. Each day, the hospitality team, they transformed the space with a new theme in honor of Nora Murray, who was someone that touched many people's lives all around Maryland, in Carroll County and Baltimore County as an advisor. Each day, I said we did a different theme. So the first day we did a Baltimore Ravens theme, which you can see our Team Murray shirt with the football. And then the second day we did a Baltimore Orioles theme. That was her favorite team. And then the third day it was like starfish theme. So if you ever get the chance to hear about the starfish story, it's all about making a difference. And that's really what she did. So we wanted to put that in the space. We provided all-day coffee and we catered game day foods. We even provided breakfast one day. It was truly a team effort, and we couldn't have done this without some of them who were back here with us today and those talking with me. We felt proud when advisors came into the space and saw that, like, WCPS students did this. Wow, like, I didn't know WCPS existed. And then along with that, we learned how to overcome challenges together, because our first hotel, it backed out a month before. We really had no idea what the space would look like. We didn't know where we would put decorations, how we would cook food. We thought of taking an oven and putting it in our van, but we didn't have to do that, thankfully. So we really learned how to be flexible with each other and make the best of a situation. So another thing we did is Demetrius and I, we started a tradition at the General Assembly, and this tradition, it was sharing the impact of Nora Murray. Because of how much of an impact she had, we wanted to carry on her light by, we filled a room with over 600 glow sticks there was over 600 students, and they were each holding a glow stick, held it up in the air, and it was 600 reasons to be a light. And so we just think that that's a part of convention that'll keep carrying on her light. Lastly, Demetrius and I, we were given the opportunity to be voting delegates for next year's MASC officers, and being given the opportunity to use our voice to vote really made us feel powerful. As a leader, I learned it's best to give guidance when it's needed, but let others use their creativity to thrive. And as a person, I learned that mistakes will happen, challenges will make you think beyond what you can do in just a classroom. It is how you take those situations and turn it into something meaningful.
Convention was truly a life-changing experience for me. We went in with high expectations without knowing what it was going to look like at all, like Sean said. Due to our past with working with events and things like that, we knew we were prepared to take on this challenge, but without the community support, with funding, and just things like that, we couldn't have done it. We spent months preparing menus, prepping decorations for the space, and planning how we would transform the space and execute this project into something we are all proud to be a part of. We all came out with personal and professional skills that we didn't even know we were capable of. I'm grateful to have been able to witness the teamwork and cooperation that I saw, not just from my staff, but all of the staff. The energy and unity among all the staff was inspiring and something that I will personally never forget. Despite not knowing each other very well, they came together and created something truly special. We were all proud to hear the compliments from attendees about our service and the space we had provided. It was a testament to the hard work, dedication, and passion of everyone a part of host staff. As a leader, I learned that not everything has to be done my way, and that by working and utilizing the strengths of others, we can achieve even greater results. The opportunity of MASC itself presented so many meaningful and impactful lessons just like this one. Overall, I can say with all my heart that attending convention was one of the most rewarding experiences of my high school journey. I am grateful for the opportunity to have grown as a leader and to have been a part of such a collaborative and successful event. I'm truly inspired by the passion and dedication of all of those who are a part of it.
So as mentioned earlier, Shraddha and I were co-chairs, so we had a wide array of responsibilities while we were down there. We worked with hotel staff, we worked with our host staff, with the hospitality and tourism students, with MASC officers, the MASC advisors, and the delegates down there. There was a lot of preparation work that went into it, and one of the biggest things for me, I'm a bit of a control freak if you know me, so figuring out how to let people kind of take the time and figure things out for themselves. That was one of the biggest things that convention allowed me to do. And there was a lot of planning that went into it, and we set things like schedules that weren't followed at all. And so learning how to be flexible in those moments and adapt to the situation was a big thing. And one of the best parts about convention was Thursday, after running around all day on Wednesday, when we got to take a step back and kind of see how everything was going and that everyone was really getting to enjoy it, and we got to enjoy it ourselves. And we had the theme of magic, and you kind of really got to see the magic on Thursday night, so that was really cool. And like they said, we ran into some challenges. There were things we couldn't find that had people down on their hands and knees, and if you know the whole story, it's a good story. But, you know, we worked through it, and we persevered, and it all turned out to be really great. And it was just a great experience, and even though I was hesitant in the beginning, I can say without a doubt it was the best yes I ever said.
So really just echoing what Alex said, we both went into this wanting to control every single detail of it, stressed, like very late at night, like, oh, is this gonna go well? What's gonna happen? So I think the biggest thing that this really taught me is just to like step back, let people do their thing, and it worked out perfectly in the end. It was just taking a breather, letting everything figure itself out, and putting my trust in other people and other leaders that they will execute the project wonderfully as we did. And secondly, convention really showed me how powerful and how meaningful our programs are and how powerful Washington County can be. We had delegates coming up to us, talking to us about how wonderful the event was. And in the beginning, right when Mr. Orth had first asked us if we wanted to host, I was very against it just because I was very hesitant and very scared to really put myself out there in front of 600 students across Maryland. And I'm really glad I did at the end. We not only did that like project well, but we also created a community. We have most of our host staff here today. A lot of them went on to run for positions and apply for positions at the Washington County and Maryland level because of this project, and it really gave everyone an opportunity to grow. So I'm really just excited. I was just really excited to see how the community grew through this project.
In closing, we want to say thank you to Dr. Willow, Mr. Alshire, who drove all the way down to Ocean City just to see our space, and Dr. Zavine for their continuous support. Also, a shout out to Ms. O'Kane and Mr. Orth for being our visionaries and inspiring us to make a greater individual commitment. None of this would be possible without the support of WCPS for us and our programs. We cannot be more grateful for those of you who believe in our missions. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for representing us so well. And yes, you definitely put WCPS on the map. I go back to our initial conversations, and you know, as with any big task like this, there's a lot of anxiety. You had big plans, and to hear how you executed that, you had several obstacles along the way, like a change of venue. We know what that means. But wow, one thing that really stands out in my mind is the level of growth through an extended period of time to execute this plan and to do it with fidelity and just a standard of excellence. I want to say thank you. Also, you're remiss if I did not give a shout out to Mr. Orth and what he does to support you and to challenge you. I believe he may have given you that nudge to, hey, maybe it's time to host, and thank you. Williams, that concludes this first segment of my update.
Thank you, Dr. Savant. This is the part of our meeting where we have public comment. And before I begin calling individuals to come forward, I'd like to read from Board Policy KD regarding the procedures of business meetings. This is A1. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is encouraged but not required to sign up prior to the meeting and may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools except personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals. Each speaker may speak for up to 5 minutes. Mrs. Murray is our timekeeper. Mrs. Murray, would you like to explain how the timing works?
When you have 30 seconds left, I'll hold this up, and when your time has expired, I'll hold this up.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. I have one individual who has signed up in advance, and that is Mr. Herbert Swain. Is Mr. Swain here? No? Okay. Then we'll move to those who have not signed up in advance. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and speak during public comment? I invite you to come up to the microphone. No? Up. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Savine. My name's Gene Kaufman, board member.
The microphone closer to
Yeah.
you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for allowing me to speak for a few minutes. I wanted to make a couple comments. Last week, there was a few comments by Mrs. Nancy Allen about the security in our schools, and I think that she mentioned that she would like to see additional security, additional school resource officers, and I think that's a great idea. An additional officer would be great, but I think we need to go a whole lot further than that. I think we need to do exactly what the state of Ohio has done, which is to allow trained administrators, trained teachers, especially those that are former military, former law enforcement officers that are in our schools, to go ahead and carry concealed weapons in order to protect our students. Educating our students is very, very important, as you all know, but safeguarding their lives is the most important thing that we can do. And so I would like to see that personally, and I think that would be the best way to go. And then I'd also like to make mention of the pornography that's in our school libraries. I haven't heard anything about any traction on that. I'm still concerned about that. And the remarks that have been made previously have apparently fallen on deaf ears. So I would like to bring that back to the fore. I know that Mr. Stauffer has made mention that he is okay with that sort of material being in our school libraries for our kids. I'm completely against that. I called for Mr. Stauffer to resign based on those comments. I'd like to reiterate that call tonight. I'd like to see you resign immediately from the board. And I just wanted to reiterate those comments, and I appreciate the time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak at this time? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ethan Lowen, and there are events that just need to be mentioned on the broader scale that apply on the smaller scale, the local scale. And, it has become obvious that the world is experiencing dramatic change. But that is and it's become very clear over the last 4 weeks. 3 weeks ago, Japan published the bullet points of its upcoming annual foreign policy document called the Blue Book. In it, they stated that, quote, the end of the 125 years of the rules-based international order is coming to an end. In the language of international diplomacy, referencing the last 100 years of the rules-based order is a reference to the effects that America has had on the world since the end of World War I. Since that time, a level of prosperity and respect for human rights has spread to the rest of the world at a level never before experienced in human history. And it is not just diplomats who have developed their own language to describe the last 100 years. Historians call this time period the Pax Americana, which translates to the American peace. Chillingly, Japan's foreign policy will now be based on two assumptions. First, that America's leadership will shrink. Second, as a result, the world will drift back to what it has always been outside of the Pax Americana, a world dominated by dictatorships. This shift in Japan's foreign policy isn't about what they think of the current American president or what they think will happen over the next decade. These policies reflect their belief about coming generations of Americans. And Japan is not the only nation saying this. It is shocking the number of nations over the last several weeks that have taken steps to prepare for an end to the rules-based order. One of those nations is France. This week before Japan issued its diplomatic document, so 4 weeks ago, the president of France went to China and, figuratively speaking, bowed before the leader of China, and that same trip criticized America. Now, the president of France has been heavily criticized and made the butt of many jokes for that trip by national leaders the world over. But what sticks out is his concern that what worked for France before no longer will, and how strongly he feels the need to evaluate options. And that is every bit as chilling as the change to Japan's diplomatic strategy. France is the 6th largest economy on earth and America's first and oldest ally. How could this have happened? In this case, the president of France has previously explained his perspective on America. Several years ago, he gave an interview in which he stated that, quote, French youth must be protected from being influenced by what is happening to America's youth. 2 years ago, the French education minister said in an interview, quote, there's a battle to wage against an intellectual matrix from American universities. It's not difficult to figure out what changes these foreign governments are reacting to because there is only one group in America that portrays itself as having a new and better vision for our children. In America's education system, we refer to this group as equity ideologists. The traditional public schools in America continue to educate their students the way all of us were educated. However, the equity ideology school districts, such as this one, have worked hard to force their changes on America's youth. Only in America's equity ideology school districts have adults created an environment where a growing number of children are spending their educational years questioning what is a man and what is a woman. The world has watched equity ideology school districts enact sophisticated-sounding policies that simply justify giving struggling students passing grades without requiring them to learn the subject, which has led to vast numbers of graduates of equity school district students being unprepared for life. The world sees the number of children that graduate from equity ideology school districts that are debilitated by an ironclad belief that they are mentally ill. Obviously, these levels of dysfunction became a concern to our allies years before they reached the degree of severity they are at today, which is why the president of France gave that interview years ago. And for years, this school board has followed these policies, voted for them, defended them, and despite all that the parents have come here protesting them. And over the last 4 weeks, both America's allies and adversaries have expressed the same judgment, that these policies are self-destructive, that they have reached critical mass among America's school boards, and human history will change as a result. Now, will changes occur as quickly or be as dramatic as many believe? I don't know, but all you have to do is read the Chinese definition for the word equity ideologist, which is by Zuo, to understand how intensely nations are tracking equity ideology's influence on our children to determine what their options are in the global landscape. The inescapable lesson is that equity ideology's pretenses and its rationalizations are gone. The only justification left is that too many people have made their careers off of it, too many companies and nonprofits make money off of the annual funding that school boards like this one continue spending on it. For the sake of our students and children and grandchildren, and for the sake of the Pax Americana, it is time for the Equity Ideology Board members to have a heart-to-heart with themselves. Is it time to step aside? We have to undo that which has caused our allies such fear and given our enemies such arrogance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lowen. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Good evening.
Well, I wasn't going to speak, but I just wanted to say, my name's Erin Myers. I'm from Clear Spring High School Band Boosters. Just a member. I'm not anyone special. But I did want to extend a positive thank you to Dr. Savine and Webster for attending the Clear Spring Town Hall meeting a few weeks ago. We were very grateful to our town council members for their strong support. And I do want you to know that our community truly did appreciate that visit and the unplanned discussion that was that happened between the boosters and the community and the council members. We do appreciate your acknowledgement of our exceptional quality band program, as well as the history and the presence the band has had within the Clear Spring community. It means a lot that you will be closely monitoring our high school band program and that our needs are able to be communicated with the board directly and will be addressed so that the program will continue to be supported as needed to ensure our success. you made your personal comment to commitment to all musical programs very clear to those in attendance, and I appreciate that. As a support to the high school programming, we're hoping to see in our Clear Spring Middle School, once again, to offer a marching band in the future, probably not next year, but the year after would be hopeful. We feel this will enhance the students' musical experience, incorporate fun, and will help students form that strong bond that musicians have both in and outside of the classroom. With this new opportunity, I'm certain that the Clear Spring High School band numbers will grow. Our Boosters organization is also in communication with all Washington County band boosters and is fully intends to keep this alliance to back our county instrumental programs. One of the topics that we would like to address with all band boosters and frankly, all county residents is to persuade our Washington County commissioners to allot more funding toward our children's education, to fully fund the education. After all, we know that the children are our future. So I just wanted to have a sincere thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Myers. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, at this time we'll have board member response to public comment. Colleagues?
Say, thanks so much for your comments, and while I was listening to them, I wanted to make you aware, I used to serve on the board of directors for the Maryland Symphony Orchestra, and I know one of the things they do is they collect instruments from people that donate them, and then they donate them to the community. So if you ever have a student who needs an instrument, you might reach out to them because they probably would be either have one available or maybe motivated to help you find one. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Anyone else? All right. We have no old business to conduct this evening, so we'll move to new business. Our first item of new business is this evening's consent agenda. We have Mr. Scott Bakel, Supervisor of Purchasing, presenting. Good evening.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. Tonight I have 7 items for your review. The Purchasing Review Committee has reviewed these items and they are being recommended for approval, and staff is available if you have any additional questions.
Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements for Juniper Service Support and Licensing renewal to Skyline Technology Solution at a cost of $94,724. Web Content Filter to Securely Inc. at a 3-year cost of $132,000. Trash and Recycling Removal Services renewal to Republic Services at the unit prices listed. Building Automation, Energy Management, and Automated Temperature Control annual maintenance extension to Control System, Inc. at a cost of $239,900. Board Certified Behavior Analyst to Maryland Behavioral Consulting, DBA, Applied ABC at the unit prices listed. Blackboard Subscription Renewal to Blackboard, Inc. at a cost of $73,063. And Spanish Core Resource to CLET World Languages at a cost of $241,832.17.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Do you have any discussion or questions at this time, colleagues?
Yeah, the only question I have is about Blackboard. Could you give an example of a time where we used that?
I know it's used as mass communications, but I don't know.
I thought we had something else that did that. That's why I asked that.
It's funny, we sat in Procurement Review Committee and said, there's going to be a question for the clarification between Blackboard and Remind. So Blackboard operates our WCPS application, the web application, for your smartphone. But it's also our larger mass communication system. So on a morning when we have inclement weather, we're calling a delay, we're calling a cancellation. We're using Blackboard to hit all students across the system. Remind is more of a tool, classroom teacher to students, small groups of students or individual students. Blackboard's the larger system used system-wide.
Okay. Is there a way to combine that with, I see Aaron. Is there a way to combine that with any of the other systems we already have? It just seems like we've spent a lot of money on other communication software. Would it make sense to kind of utilize that so that we have one less?
I think they're
system out there?
niche pieces, and I'm not sure we've identified the appropriate resource that would fit both molds. And probably not at this juncture in this cost structure.
Anyone else have a question? All right, seeing none, we'll move to Mr. Bickford's motion, Mrs. Murray's second. We're voting to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements offered this evening. All those in favor? Okay, we have a unanimous vote, and the student member concurs. Thank you, Mr. Bakel. Thank you, Mr. Prue. Our next item is the approval of a donation, and we have Dr. Heath Wilcox presenting. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Sobine, and board members. I am requesting approval of a gift of $21,000 from the Nora Roberts Foundation to Boonesboro High School to be used by the drama, orchestra, and band programs.
Thank you, Dr. Wilcox. Is there a motion?
President Williams, I move to approve a gift of $21,000 from the Nora Roberts Foundation to benefit the drama, orchestra, and band programs.
Dr. Zentmeyer, is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions for Dr. Wilcox? Any discussion?
Just thank you for the ongoing generosity. This is another donation compared to, I don't want to add it up, but it's adding up to quite a bit for Boonesboro. So
Pretty much building us a new school out there, aren't
Yeah.
That foundation has been extremely generous, and we appreciate the support and extend our thanks.
We just need about 7 more book writers, just like Nora, to help us out. So congratulations to Boonesboro area for their success in having Mrs. Roberts as a part of their community.
It'll make Daryl and I read more romance novels, right, Daryl?
You go.
It's an area of growth I need.
Move to the vote. All those in favor of approving the gift of $21,000 from the Nora Roberts Foundation to benefit the drama, orchestra, and band programs. All right, we have a unanimous approval, and the student member concurs. Thank you, Dr. Wilcox.
Thank you.
All right, our next item of business is proposed academic year calendar changes for 2023, 2024. Mr. Prue's back.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. This matter is an alteration or modification to the 2023-2024 school year calendar. The General Assembly, during its 90-day session, moved the primary election day from the month of April to the month of May. So we are seeking your approval on basically a swap of professional development days between those two dates to accommodate elections in our schools.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. Is there a motion?
President Williams, I move to approve the proposed academic year calendar change for the 2023-2024 school year to move the professional day from April 23rd, 2024 to May 14th, 2024.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do you have any questions for Mr. Prue? Any discussion? All right, we'll move to the vote. Voting to approve the changes to, the proposed changes to the calendar for 2023, 2024. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote, and the student member concurs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item under new business is an MOU or two, or three?
Or three. Good evening, Mrs. Williams, Dr. Savine, and members of the board. Tonight, I'm joined here with Mr. Neil Becker, President of Washington County Teacher Association. We are excited to bring 3 memorandums of understanding between the Board of Education for your consideration and the Washington County Teachers Association. Staff requests board approval of the proposed memorandum of understanding regarding a modification of Teacher Article 23.6 sabbatical.
Is there a motion?
Madam President, move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Article 23.6 sabbatical.
Thank you, Mrs. Falker. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any questions? Any discussion? Move to the vote. We're voting for approval of the memo of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and Washington County Teachers Association regarding the modification of Teacher Article 23.6 sabbatical. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote and the student member concurs. Oh, student member doesn't vote on this, right? No, so it's just a unanimous vote. Thank you.
Right.
Dr. Zentmeyer, did you second that motion, just for my notes? Did you second that
Yes,
motion?
I did.
Thank you, thank you. Sorry, Mrs. Baker, you want to continue?
No problem. Staff requests board approval of the proposed memorandum of understanding regarding a modification of Teacher Articles 13.7 specialized teaching assignments and 15.7 salary enhancements.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Madam President, move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Articles 13.7 specialized teaching assignments and 15.7 salary enhancement.
Thank you, Mrs. Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any questions, any discussion? We'll move to the vote. We're voting on the MOU between the Washington County Board of Education and the Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Articles 13.7, specialized teaching assignments, and 15.7, salary enhancements. All in favor? We have a unanimous vote. That motion carries.
Staff requests board approval of the proposed memorandum of understanding regarding a modification of Teacher Article 15.2 national certification.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker. Is there a motion?
Madam President, move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Article 15.2 national certification.
Thank you, Mrs. Palford. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any questions? Any discussion? Okay, we're voting to approve the memo of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Article 15.2 national certification. All those in favor? And we have a unanimous vote. So that is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you
Thank
have anything?
Mr. Becker, did you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, President Williams, board members, and Dr. Sovine. Just a quick moment, just to be crystal clear for all those who might be watching, these memorandums of understanding are separate from the ratification process that's taking place right now. So I'm sure there are a lot of educators watching the meeting and saying, my ballots aren't due yet. These are separate. These are MOUs related to some other things that were already in the negotiated agreement. And a point of personal privilege, President Williams, just thank you for the collaborative effort on the part of staff and the Board of Education to bring these MOUs to life, and that they will benefit our students in the long run. It's the work we do to recruit the best educators and support them in any way possible. And here in Teacher Appreciation Week, this is just one small way that we can continue doing the good work in Washington County. I thank our colleagues, several from Hancock in the back of the room today, for coming out and being part of the process. And again, thank you for the opportunity to sign these MOUs, and thank you, Mrs. Baker. My time is quickly coming to a close, so I might not have many more signatures. So next time I'll write really large, and I'll put my stamp on it for a while. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Becker. All right, our final item of new business is a nomination to be submitted to the Maryland Association of Boards of Education for the 2023-2024 Board of Directors Nominating Committee. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we nominate and endorse Madam President Melissa Williams as a candidate for MABE's Board of Directors. You don't have to put Madam President in there.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, thank you. I don't think I can write down 3 names, so I'll take Mr. Salfers. Any discussion, any questions? Okay.
I have discussion. Thank you for serving not only here, but for representing us to MABE.
It's a privilege and an honor to have my name considered, and I hope you'll be able to support my nomination so that it can be submitted to the nominating committee at MABE. All those in favor? All right, thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Have a unanimous vote.
We know you like to attend meetings, so.
Needs more work.
I do love the board. I believe in the mission of the association, and it's wonderful to work with counterparts across the state on behalf of all school systems, boards, Board of Educations, and board members in the state of Maryland. So I welcome the opportunity to return to the board if that's the wish of the nominating committee. Okay, that concludes new business. Oh, we haven't voted? Yes, we did. Thank you. It was unanimous, thank you. We're going to return now to the superintendent's report that we began at the start of the meeting. So Dr. Savani, it's yours.
Thank you, President Williams. For the second half of my report this evening, I'm going to ask Dr. Kara Burham, Strategic Initiatives Coordinator, to share an update regarding the blueprint for Maryland's future. This specifically involves what the law requires for workforce development initiatives.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, and Dr. Sovine. We are here this evening to share information on the career counseling agreement between Washington County Public Schools and the local Workforce Development Board. The blueprint for Maryland's future sets a new college and career readiness standard that prepares students for success in college and the workforce by ensuring they have the knowledge and skills to complete entry-level credit-bearing college courses and/or work in high-wage and high-demanding industries. The blueprint requires career and technology education programs developed in partnership with the private sector, including an apprenticeship or lead to industry-recognized credential by the end of high school. It also requires a career counseling agreement between the LEA, Local Workforce Development Board, and a community college to provide career counseling. Oh, whoops, I somehow missed a slide. There we go. The law requires that we work with the local Workforce Development Board using funding from the blueprint. Funding to support career and counseling programs is allotted through the foundation funding. $62 is appropriated for every student, totaling $1.3 million. This money is to be used to support career counseling programs for middle and high school students. Mrs. Huffer is going to talk about what our model in Washington County will look like.
These positions at the middle school level will be on an introductory and exploratory of options. At the high school level, it will be more individualized plan for post-secondary options. The coordinator will be focused on supporting program delivery and connecting opportunities with community partners. This additional career and secondary support starting in middle school ensures all students are able to explore the variety of programming offered in our county. The programs at Antietam Academy and Able will be supported by the career coaches at Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. Marshall Street will be supported by the College and Career Ready Coordinator in collaboration with school staff. These positions you see listed here are established based on student enrollment and current apprenticeship opportunities. The programming will support all students 6th through 12th grade in enhancing the exploration of career opportunities through CTE programs, college courses, and apprenticeships. They will work in collaboration with school staff to provide further understanding of and preparation for careers through small groups and individualized meetings. Collaboration with the local workforce development, local college, school counselors, and student intervention specialists, as well as other school staff, will be key in enhancing opportunities and knowledge of career options in our community and beyond. At the high school level, they will assist students in preparation for and applications to participate in these opportunities. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Ms. Hopper and Dr. Burhans for that update and report. Certainly, at this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions board members may have.
Who serves on the local workforce development board?
I don't have that specific information. Deb Gilbert has been our contact. If you,
Not the Western Maryland Consortium, which used to do
Correct.
development.
And it is.
It's the
It
same.
is? Okay. All right. That answers my question.
Okay.
Thank you again. That does conclude my report segment tonight, and now I'll move on to a few updates. Tomorrow is National Interpreter Appreciation Day. I'd like to extend my appreciation to ASL interpreters who are with us each meeting to increase access to the Board of Education's meetings for the deaf and the hard of hearing community. Extend my appreciation to our interpreters in the back of our room. And May is Pupil Personnel Workers Month. PPWs play a critical role in meeting the total needs of a child in and beyond the classroom. These staff members work with the school, the family, community organizations, and social agencies to support the well-being of our students, which is vital to helping them succeed. Thank you to our pupil personnel workers. And lastly, May the 10th is National School Nurse Day. Our school nurses make sure student health needs are met in school, which helps them succeed in learning. Other nurses provide individual care during the school day for our students with complex health issues and those at risk for health problems. WCPS appreciates our partnership with Meritus Health, and we thank all of our nurses for supporting our students. President Williams, members of the board, that concludes my update for this evening's meeting. I'll remain available for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Okay, at this time, we'll have personnel actions with Mrs. Ram presenting tonight.
Good evening. I respectfully request the board to approve the personnel actions as discussed earlier in closed session.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
President Williams, I move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? All right, we're voting to approve the personnel actions as discussed in closed session. They are dated today, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. All those in favor? All we have a unanimous vote. So we have approved personnel actions. Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Under reports to the board, we have a superintendent's report and recommendation.
Yeah, President Williams, members of the board, it's in my first year as superintendent for Washington County Public Schools, it has become very clear to me that we're facing what is bound to become a facilities crisis. Given the age of many of our schools and the reality that there are incredibly limited resources to address improvements, we have to think of different fiscally responsible ways to face these challenges. With that being said, the report you will hear tonight presents a solution. Close 2 schools and build 1 larger new replacement school. I'll now turn it over to our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Jeff Prue, and our Facilities and Planning Development team. Mr. Prue.
Thank you, Dr. Svine, members of the board. Earlier this afternoon, we shared with you the written copy of the superintendent's report and recommendations related to the closing of Hickory Elementary School and Fountain Rock Elementary School, and for the construction of the replacement elementary school, what we're affectionately calling the Downsville Pike Elementary School. Staff here will walk you through some of the highlights of what is in that book and some of the path moving forward. So a bit of a history in terms of how we got to the point we are here this evening. You may recall that over the last number of years, specifically in 2018, 2019, 21, and 22, we listed this program, this project in the Educational Facilities Master Plan, often referred to as School 1 or simply Replacement School, and identified Hickory Elementary and Fountain Rock Elementary as candidates for closure. This replacement school was also in the capital improvement plan subsequent to those EFMPs in FY 20, 21, 23, and 24. And this project currently resides in the county's draft capital improvement program for FY 24 as being a fully funded project without any agency contribution, which would refer to any contribution from the Board of Education. We also have a unique opportunity to leverage the Built to Learn Act capital funds. These are funds that were provided by the General Assembly to school districts several years ago under legislative action, and Washington County at this point is set to receive north of $19 million for a capital improvement, and working with the IAC staff and through the goals of the legislation, they're really looking for renovations and replacements, understanding that the infrastructure of many of the schools within the state are aging. Just a quick review of the attendance zones. You can see the Hickory Elementary attendance zone in blue, the Fountain Rock Elementary attendance zone in yellow, and how these 2 sites adjoin. We get a little closer in look where you can see some of the roads, and you can see really the proximity of the 2 sites. And then to that, I'll overlay that little pin drop is the location really where we're sitting tonight, of course, here at the Center for Education Services on Downsville Pike. And the proposed location is actually on the front lawn of our location here. In terms of proximity, it is 2.7 miles from this location to Hickory Elementary School and 2.4 miles to Fountain Rock. So we really are about as equidistant as we could get based on the property lines to both schools. It really shows how close the proximity of those 2 locations really are to each other. What you have shown now, the gray hashed in, shows the middle and high school attendance zones for Springfield Middle and Williamsport High School. Both schools' attendance zones reside completely within the Williamsport and Springfield attendance zones. And with that, I think I'll turn over to Mr. Rollins to give you some of the details of the report itself.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. So anytime a school system considers the closing of schools, it's governed by the Code of Maryland regulations, known as COMAR, a certain title, the adoption of procedures that govern school closings. Within that procedure, there are 8 factors that have to be considered. Those 8 factors are all considered within the report that you were given today in great detail for your consideration. We tonight want to talk about a couple of those that we think are most important. One of them is educational programs. So
The new school, above anything else, will have self-contained classrooms. That's a big bonus. The two schools that we're considering for closure are both open schools built in the early 70s. I think one was in 70 and one was in 75, so split the difference. These classrooms will have all the latest technology, collaboration spaces, breakout spaces within the school building so that you can take kids that need attention, special attention, and work with them, English language learners, kids like that. And with a 4-round school that we're proposing, you can also have more consistent class sizes through the years as enrollment changes. We can spread an enrollment increase across 4 classes so that you don't have large bumps on a yearly basis in enrollment in one given grade level or one classroom. The new school would also have dedicated instructional spaces that they don't have at the current schools for science, art, music, small group instruction, special education. These are things, they have those classrooms or spaces at the schools where they are right now, but they're not dedicated spaces. Often they're makeshift, or a space that was originally meant for music is a classroom now, and music has been moved to a portable, things like that. Also, the new school will have improved safety and security. Again, one of the greatest security features is the walls that you will have around each classroom and a door that can be locked and closed. Other security features would be in keeping with what we do today in our schools. And also we have site improvements that mainly work towards safety with the inclusion of separate bus loops and parent loops and good sight lines around the school, and not building a building that has nooks and crannies and things like that for people to hide in. So we pay attention to all of that on the exterior of the building. We also limit the number of access points to a school. So in old days, we would have schools with classrooms that each had a door to the outside. Now we eliminate all those doors, and we really reduce the number of doors in and out of a school to help with security. And finally, the newer schools have larger and improved core spaces for student and community use. The gym will build in concert with the county Recs department and build it a size where they can use it for community programs. The cafeteria would be adjoined to the gym so that if you have a large school function, you can open some folding partitions between the cafeteria and the gym and have a large area that you can invite the community to for events. And then a media center that's the center of the school that can also be used by the community. We wanted to share some pictures with you of where we are now in those schools today and what might be possible in a new school. This is a picture of the media center at Fountain Rock Elementary School. You can see it's in an open space. There's no walls around it. In fact, the space is delineated by bookcases and other furniture, which is often the case with our older open schools. And it's a small space. It doesn't have room for students to maybe go off and read a book by themselves. It's pretty much a group thing. At the newer schools, Sharpsburg Elementary, here's the media center there. Again, we have space for group instruction. We have group places for kids to be able to sit and read a book on their own. And there's a direct adjacency to the makerspace up that yellow stairway in the back that allows further instruction from the media people up in that space with all the latest things that they're teaching the kids. A classroom at Hickory. You can see it's not really well lit. It has cloth partitions to try to delineate a classroom within an open space. There's no natural light. We have 2 different floor tiles. When it was an open school, the quarry tile you see there was around a wet area. But in order to try to delineate classrooms and make spaces for kids, we just put the walls where we best could. And so you have these different floor types in the classrooms. This is a picture of a classroom at Sharpsburg. Natural light. All our new schools, there are windows and natural light into every space. Plenty of storage that the open schools lack, and bright and inviting, all the latest technology. One thing the 1970 schools didn't have was a lot of small group instruction spaces that are needed today. So they've had to work in a makeshift fashion. Here you see what was probably in the 70s designated as the storage closet. The ladder you see in the back is for roof access. So, but they've had to use the space at the school in order to have a breakout area where they could have some privacy and quiet. At the new schools, we've been putting in these collaboration spaces. This is a picture of Jonathan Hager, space between two classrooms. You see you have access from each classroom into that space where a single student or a group of students can be pulled aside or work on a project on their own. These collaboration spaces also have doors to the corridor. So if this space was needed by an itinerant teacher or somebody, a specialist who was coming to the school, they could also use these spaces. They could be isolated through the sliding glass doors, and you could work with a student one-on-one in that space as needed. So it offers a lot of flexibility to the school to teach the kids. Finally, this is the gym space at the Fountain Rock Elementary School. It doesn't have a full court volleyball/basketball court. The stage that you see there in the back is closed because they can't use it as a stage anymore. That is used for storage of school materials. They're just out of space for how we teach today. So that's an example of an older gymnasium and smaller gymnasium. In the new schools, we're able to put larger gyms with full court sizes for community use, for recreation, basketball, volleyball. The county can staff these with their people at night to offer community rec programs. And also, just to the far right of that picture, you see a folding partition that's open at Jonathan Hager that's connected directly to the cafeteria, so you can have that large space. The other factor we want to discuss tonight is financial considerations. The cost of the school, the cost of constructing the school, rather than it would, to eliminate the two aging elementary schools and construct a new would save more than $22 million in state and local funds. So that's a big savings. 15.7, 70% of that $22 million would be savings in local funds. And this is just for the construction. We also save approximately $580,000 annually in operating costs. The construction savings were calculated in this fashion. We compared the 628 seat capacity new school that we're considering to two replacement elementary schools that would offer the same number of seats, 628 students. You can see the cost of construction is $22 million less for building the one school versus the two schools. You can see the local savings there. These savings are derived mainly from the square footage. You can see that the two smaller schools would actually use 17,000 more square feet than building the one school. This is because there's redundant features that you'd have to build in each smaller school. Each one would have to have a gym, cafeteria, media center. These things don't have to be duplicated in a larger school. So you have a good number of square foot saved there. Also, the number of acres that would have to be maintained is reduced. If we surplus these two schools, we wouldn't have to maintain 26 acres of those two sites anymore. Some of the cost difference between the new school and the smaller schools is based on off-site conditions that the local government would have to pay for. We'd like to bring, if we were to build a school at Fountain Rock, we'd want to bring sewer and water there. There's that cost delineated within the report that shows you what that cost would be. And it all adds up to some really significant savings. On the operational side, the construction of one school would result in savings of about $580,000 a year. Most of that is in fewer positions needed, again, that redundancy. However, it's expected that the positions will be available for all current teachers there based on normal attrition in the school system, so that no one is going to lose a job just because we have fewer positions. So over 10 years, we estimate that about $5.8 million in savings would occur. So all in all, we believe this plan can positively impact the education of the greatest number of students in the shortest amount of time and for the lowest cost to the taxpayer. And that's why we're bringing this report to you.
I think in closing, I'll try to bring you forward and kind of show you where we are, how we've gotten to the point we are in, and where the steps are moving forward. Going back as far as 2020, as this project was approved in EFMPs in past years, school system reached out, and we had the site approved by the State Clearinghouse and the Interagency Commission on School Construction, the IAC. So the site here at Downsville Pike is approved by the state to have a school loaded onto it. In the month of February, after Dr. Svine mentioned publicly that we were working on a closing report and preparing for the construction of a new school, Dr. Svine and several members of staff went out to both Hickory and Fountain Rock and met with staff members, made sure that they knew firsthand, first and foremost, what the plans were, how we were proceeding, what the impact might be on them, and we worked through that with them. Just last Monday night, on the 24th of April, Mr. Rollins, Mr. Criswell, myself, Mrs. Anderson, Dr. Palmer, all were at a community meeting at Springfield Middle School that was publicized both in the newspaper and the Herald Mail, as well as mass notifications we sent out to the affected schools, so that we could hear from first and foremost, share what we were thinking, share what the overall plan was, but also to hear from community members and get their feedback of what they thought of the program and what some of their concerns were. We actually captured notes from that evening and summarized the major topics. It's the last appendix, actually, in the report, as a simple one-page document that summarizes what some of the concerns were from the attendees that were with us that evening. Moving forward, in working with board leadership and the Agenda Planning Commission, we have reserved Williamsport High School for Wednesday night, May 24th, to have a public hearing, so the board members can hear from the community and what they think of the proposed project and the potential closing of the two schools, so that the board can hear from the community and then be prepared to vote at a time that it sees fit and whether it's heard enough information at that time. Policy calls for at least one hearing, but the board can choose to schedule more if they feel that they need more community input. And I think with that, staff is happy to take any questions you have at this time. Yep. Further, yes, Rob's reminding me, we do have a work session on May 16th on the Educational Facilities Master Plan. That gives board members 2 weeks, really, to review the report and think of any questions you have. And as we do have that work session that day, and we're discussing the overall EFMP, it's a great opportunity for board members to ask any questions you may have about the project, the new construction, and the educational program that's wrapped around that. And between, let's say, two small schools, one larger school, staff would be prepared to handle that as well. And I think I should also say in closing, on the email address public_feedback@WCPS is an email address that is currently active, and community members can provide feedback to the Board of Ed through that website, and Mrs. Anderson will be monitoring that website. They can also write to the Public Information Office at our location here at Downsville Pike, or call in if they so choose, and we'll capture those comments and provide that to board members as well. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I do have, is it okay if I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So I'd see on that slide where you showed the distance between the two schools, showing an equidistant there. What would the distance be? I'm assuming the furthest south, I guess that'd be where Keedysville or whatever. How far would that be to the new school? Do we have any idea on that, or at least if you don't know off the top of your head? I know I kind of sprung on it. You could
Yeah, that's an answer we can get back to you on. Yeah. We did discuss, if you're thinking about transportation for students, that is one of the factors, and it's discussed in the report as well.
Okay.
And so there is some information on that point.
And then the only other question, I'm just kind of looking, I see you said 10-year cost savings, $5.8 million, and then you said they'll save more than $22 million in state and local funds. Is that over what period would that be? Would that be over what, like roughly 30 years or so?
No, the $22 million is simply the construction cost. That's comparing if you build two new 2-round schools compared to building one 4-round school. So that's a really, it's whatever time frame it would take you to build 2 schools as opposed to the one, but it's just simply the construction cost in today's dollars.
Mr. Rollins, would you explain, I see one of the questions are in the back here about the capacity of schools. I mean, in facilities, we talked about capacities. Would you kind of go through that and explain the scenario where we have regulations to follow when we're looking at school capacities?
In terms of how capacity is calculated?
Yes.
Okay. So at an elementary school, you count each classroom for grades 1 through 5 at 23 students per classroom. Kindergartens are counted at 22 students per classroom, and pre-K is counted at 20 students per classroom. So I believe in this school, a 4-round school would have 1 through 5 is 6 grades times 4, 24 classrooms times 23 students. You'd have 4 kindergarten classrooms, so that'd be 4 times 22. And then I think we have 3 pre-K in the ed spec as it's written, well, as it's considered right now. And that would be another 63 times 20. You add those up and you get 628.
And I think one or two special ed rooms.
And 2 special ed
I'm
rooms.
sorry, I
And-
forgot
And that
those,
is actually
yes.
shown in the appendix. There's a calculation on the construction budgets for the replacement schools and the new schools. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th appendix. You can go and it's in the report.
Thanks, Chad.
I think another item that Mr. Criswell forgot that we don't have in the report is when would the school open? The school, will be, if this proposal moves forward, the school would open in the August of 2027. And of course, the closing of the 2 schools would be contingent upon, of course, the opening of the new school.
That's in the report. It's just, I forgot to put it in the presentation, so my apologies. For those wondering at home.
And the state has increased items heretofore they didn't pay for. Now they pay for certain things concerning the planning and stuff, right?
You can. We typically still like to keep the state paying for construction itself, and we generally look to our local government partners for support on the design services. Ultimately, the cost is what the cost is, and we get 79% return one way or the other. So we like the delineation of keeping the state paying solely for construction, getting the match on the construction from local government, and then paying for A&E services out of local government. But you're right, we could ask the state to do that. And it's, be wise to share with, I think, with the community at this point too. This construction project, like any other project at this time, Washington County Public Schools receives 79% of the funding from state government. So 79 cents on every dollar on the construction is typically paid for with state dollars, 21% from, or 21 cents on the dollar from local. This particular project also has the Built to Learn funding, which was a specific allocation of nearly $20 million that came from the General Assembly.
And when this first proposed several years ago, we didn't have a warehouse sitting across the street and another one being built. So we're confident we can work through the traffic patterns and related items.
We believe we can. We've had discussion with the county's engineering department on what the plans are for traffic control on this stretch of road and what the traffic studies currently say related to just the warehouse alone. Then when you add on the traffic really that a school site will also create, will require additional improvements on the road in terms of traffic control. And so we're working through that project with county government and with their staff. And that should considerably slow the speed with which traffic, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to mitigate traffic, but it will slow the speeds considerably.
I'm just curious to know if there's any way to guess, I guess, or estimate the savings that we will experience by using the ground that we have out here instead of having to look for a sizable amount of land that would be in an area that would be good for both of those schools.
The last
to
time
be
we
combined.
bought property for an elementary school was at Jonathan Hager, and that property, I believe, cost us $1 million. The county too, I'm sorry.
And that was how many years ago?
It's 2000.
And it opened in 2016, so.
14, 13.
Yeah, 12, 13 was when we went through that process, and there was some negotiation back and forth, I believe. But then it's also not just the cost of the property, it's finding the right property. So one of the issues that we have is finding a property that has the public utilities that go to it. And as we go further south and further east from here, it's hard to get public water and sewer, and that's also discussed and touched upon in the report. So that also adds cost. So you might get the property for the $1 million today, or 15 acres, but then there's the cost of running the utilities and putting in the infrastructure to get to that property. So that would also be one of the considerations that makes it difficult to put a price tag on for determining that.
Colleagues, any further questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next under reports to the board, we'll have board member committee reports. We'll start with curriculum and instruction. Dr. Zenmeyer?
We met at Able last Friday, and all I can say is, wow. What an absolutely fine place to earn an education virtually. 233 kids attend there, and 21 are graduating with plans to allow that program to expand, not only at Able, but elsewhere. Thanks to the principal, Jennifer Bossman, and to Dave Mahaffey for their wonderful presentations. We got the final results of a math resource and a world language resource, and it was a great meeting. Our next meeting is May 12th at South Hagerstown High School.
Thank you, Dr. Zenmeyer. Facilities, Mr. Gessler?
We don't have anything. We haven't met since our last report.
Thank you. Finance, Mr. Evans?
Our next meeting is Wednesday, May 17th at 9 a.m.
Human Resources, Mrs. Murray?
So our next meeting is next Tuesday, May 9th at 9 a.m. in the board conference room.
Thank you. Mr. Bickford, Policy Review and Development,
We are meeting Wednesday, May 10th at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Yep.
Thank you. Ms. Cruz, do you want to say anything about student government?
Washington County Association of Student Councils had their last General Assembly of the year last week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but they elected their Board of Student Leaders as well as the new student member of the board who's in the audience in the red shirt, Graham from North. So, yes, thank you.
Under miscellaneous business, we have, per usual, list of future agenda items. We have coming up on the 16th of May, the 2023 Educational Facilities Master Plan update was mentioned earlier. That's a work session. On that same evening, we'll have a presentation of the Food and Nutrition Services fiscal year 2024 operating budget. We'll have a presentation, a report on the substance abuse prevention and intervention we have going on in Washington County Public Schools. And then, as mentioned earlier, we have a public hearing for the consideration of closing Fountain Rock Elementary and Hickory Elementary. That's on May 24th, and that is at Williamsport High School, correct? So those are our future agenda items. If you have, colleagues, if you have a suggestion for a future agenda item, please let a member of the Agenda Planning Committee know so we can take care of getting that scheduled. That brings us to board member comments. Ms. Cruz, would you like to begin down there?
Sure. It's testing season, or I guess testing season for the next few weeks. And I just want to wish everyone the best of luck and push through till the end of the year. I am counting down the days. It is 18, if you must know. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Murray?
Yes. I'm really looking forward to going to North High this Wednesday evening with Mr. Stauffer. We are going to be at the Principal Citizenship Awards for the 5th graders in Washington County, and it's always a great event.
Yeah, looking forward to attending that, and appreciated the good, what's that?
I didn't know you were going.
Yes, it's on my calendar. And appreciated the good meeting, thanks.
Mr. Stauffer?
No comment.
All Right, thank you. Mr. Gesford?
We are very fortunate to have some great teachers. Tonight represented one of the top teachers that we have in Washington County, along with some of the other candidates. But we don't want to be remiss and not thank all of our teachers who show up every day and work very hard to make us a great school system. So thanks to all the teachers and all of our personnel in Washington County.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Yeah, I was going to say just about the same thing there, Mr. Gesford, so I'll echo that, and congratulations to our new SMOB, as you'll be referred to as, and then congratulations to all the seniors. Good luck, and I'm sure you'll make us proud, so.
Dr. Zentmeyer?
Today is National Teachers Day. Everyone has that favorite teacher. I happen to have lots of favorite teachers in Washington County. But this day was created to honor teachers by a teacher. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt was the one who created today. And it was because of her love of education at a young age when she was tutored by her aunt. The Clasters, my first teacher, Miss Barbara on Romper Room. The Clasters of Baltimore actually created that program in 1953 to teach kids good manners, morality, and civic mindedness. It had a long and successful career over 4 decades. I was one of the millions who sat glued to my seat when she pulled out that magic mirror. I just knew she was going to say my name, but it never happened. Thanks to all of our teachers. We appreciate you so, so much. Congratulations also to our not-so-now unsung hero, Tim O'Kane, and those who participated in the art show at North High this week. Oh my gosh, it was fabulous. Our regional student council, as you've heard, met here. I sat in a pile of tears watching my future played out in the elections. And I have to say, Graham Snyder, welcome aboard. And kudos to the team, the Envirothon teams that competed here this week. Overall, the last 2 weeks have been an excellent kid-watching 2 weeks. Thank you.
I would just like to say that this evening I was so impressed by the students who made their presentation. Their poise, just so extremely articulate. And when I see them, I know that our future is in good hands. They exemplified leadership, rising to the occasion. You know, they were concerned about hosting an event that they hadn't experienced themselves, and the fact that they could view serious challenges as opportunities. I was just so impressed with them, and to know that Washington County's curriculum and policies have served those kids well. So I'm just so proud of those leaders and all the others that we have coming up in our school system. We have so many things to be grateful for and proud of. And I'd like to wish all teachers a very happy week. We're almost halfway through the week. I want them to know how much we appreciate their efforts. And I'd just like to say something about the ABLE program that I visited. I was just, you know, you sit and you hear so many good things about that program, but to actually go and see and to feel the excitement. I think about Mr. Mahaffey, who said that after years of teaching in a traditional high school, that he had been rejuvenated by being at Funkstown and participating as a teacher in the ABLE program. So good things continue to happen in Washington County, and it's just a proud moment, as I said, to have such students come before the board and present. So with that, if there's nothing further, Dr. Savine, would you like the last word?
I think you've said it best.
All right, then we will adjourn. Thank you, colleagues.